There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, my God, keep me from going lunatic. Boom, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
Hello, my name is Laura. I'm a teacher now, but I used to be a professional zombie. What I mean by that is I was an actor. I did a lot of horror acting for a while, pretty much exclusively a zombie for a good few years when I worked at a place called Z Events. My friend Molly also worked there, which was really cool to have, one of your closest friends work with you. And she actually has worked on the film 28 Years Later. She was one of the silicone artists and she's done some really amazing work. So I wanted to talk about 28 Years Later from the perspective of a former zombie. So the reason why I feel like I could talk about this is because of the amount of time I spent as a zombie. Like literally every single week I'd be performing as a zombie. Really perfected the art of the movement and the voice, and I feel like I'm a bit of an authority when it comes to that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the physicality of the actors. I thought it was really interesting that we have these new variations of zombies. So these alphas, I thought the physicality there was really intimidating, powerful, purposeful. It was really quite enjoyable to watch and see that slightly different presence on screen compared to the earlier films. The regular zombies I didn't like quite as much, and I'm pretty much certain that this must be like a directorial decision. As much as I love Danny Boyle and what he's done with the film, I do think that the regular zombies kind of flail around a lot. I sort of found that quite funny. Maybe that's just me, but it was a little bit too much, I think. It took me out of it a little bit. I did, however, love these bloater zombies that were really slow, and the movement there was just so repulsive. The actors did a great job on being truly disgusting. So I really enjoyed that. I also really liked, do you remember when it first came out, the trailer, and there was like the Cillian Murphy zombie? Everyone thought it was Cillian Murphy, and it's not. I also liked his emergence, his really like slow, gradual appearance, and he's so like deteriorated. I thought that was really nice. The voice, really strong. Screams were great, in particular. These like guttural, like masculine, raw noises were really cool too. And really captured that sense of like rage that the virus is the rage virus. So I thought that was cool too. Makeup and effects, obviously, and I'm probably a little bit biased because I know how hard Molly worked in particular, but I thought the effects were outstanding for the zombies. Work was really good all round here. I especially loved the bloaters though. I think that the like mouldiness, the gangrenous kind of repulsion again of those creatures was brilliant. However, I do remember like there being a decapitated head at one point, which did look very, very false and was quite amusing to me. Other than that though, I really enjoyed the effects, and I'm talking about zombies here. So when it comes to zombies, the zombies were great. Really enjoyed that. And I think the evolution of these zombies is really cool. The fact that we've got these like two different strains now, both highly effective, both incredibly purposeful additions when it comes to like action scenes in particular. They have very different feelings that they bring. I really liked the slow creeping bloaters. You didn't know if the characters were going to get out of the situation or not. I think that worked really, really well. The alphas, just again, pure like authority, physicality, intimidation. The fact that they were like going for it, I thought was great. So yeah, there was like this moment, I don't want to spoil anything in case anyone hasn't seen it, and you should, by the way, you should go and see it. There's a moment that feels very Attack on Titan if you watch anime, and it was awful. I mean, it was great, but it was awful, very, very intimidating. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Finally, one thing that I would like to talk about, which maybe feels a bit less about the zombies specifically, and a little bit more about like the background of the film and the meaning, is the rage virus itself. I think it's a great concept that reflects modern issues, and what's interesting is that, like the virus, the interpretation seems to evolve with every film that's released in the series. Horror, if you don't know, I'm sure many of you do, but if you don't know, if you're not into horror, a big thing about horror is that it reflects our fears. It's particularly interesting if you look into film theory about when films come out, the themes that are within them, the characters that are within them, and also the issues that were going on at the time. And obviously that applies to other genres as well, but horror in particular, and the things that we're scared of, I find that particularly interesting. So like in the 80s when we have that vampire revival, you know, think The Lost Boys, that's also around the same time of the HIV AIDS epidemic, and this idea of like poisoned blood. So obviously, like, you can see the links between vampirism and blood and corrupted blood and all of this kind of thing. And I think 28 Years Later is no exception. Obviously, it is a very, very anti-war film. I think that's obvious from the Rudyard Kipling boots, 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 boots that's in the trailer, but also like plays a key motif throughout the film itself. But also it's interesting in like the situation that we are now with what's going on in you know, with Israel and Palestine, Ukraine and Russia, to see it as, you know, this feeling of being isolated, being left alone, being ignored by the rest of the world, and left to be slaughtered essentially, and the fact that this is, you know, children, you know, one of the main characters is a child is thrown into this world. Yeah, I think that's a really powerful message that comes throughout the film. Another thing that's obvious is the post-Brexit interpretation that we have here, post-Brexit interpretation, with Britain left to fend for itself. Everyone else has forgotten about us, they don't care about us, and we're failing as a result. Like, things are not going well. There's literally zombies in this, but, you know, in real life it's like, oh, okay, all of these bad things happening, great, love that. And then I think it's also quite interesting to maybe read the masculinity angle as well. I think it's less of a strand, but it is something that I kind of picked up on, because like obviously Alpha comes across as, you know, animal kingdom, and if you watch any of the interviews with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland explaining like their thoughts behind the film and the evolution of the zombies, that is a huge part of it, is this idea of like the animal kingdom. But also the word alpha is loved by the manosphere, and I think that's particularly interesting that we have a rage virus, and there's like this huge issue that's currently been talked about like the feelings of men in terms of this like really destructive perception of masculinity. It's not only destructive to themselves but also to everyone around them, and I think that is very clearly reflected in like the zombies themselves. Anyway, there are just a few of my thoughts, and this is probably going to be quite a messy little video, but I thought it would just be interesting to talk about it, and maybe you would like to hear my perspective as an ex-zombie in particular. I do really want to say you should watch the film. I'm sure some people will love it and some people will hate it. I've already seen quite a lot of discourse online. That ending, huh? That was something. So yeah, please go and watch it. My friend Molly did an amazing job. If you don't like the film, then you will at least appreciate the beautiful, the incredibly grotesque and awful, disgusting artwork by an amazing team. So yeah, please go and watch it. And it's like bits are shot on iPhones, and also, there's all sorts of interesting filmmaking stuff. So just for that, you should go and watch it. Anyway, thank you. Bye bye.
This is a glorious day. A day of judgment. My children!
There's no discharge in the war.